we've got a Phil Parkinson hater.
I just don't rate him.
Jake Paul versus Lee Trundle.
I'd take that 100%.
Preston were the biggest team in the Championship.
Sheffield United haven't won a trophy in like 100 years, so it can't be them.
5 points behind leaders Cov now, 4 wins in a row. Automatic promotion contenders, surely. Can they win the league? Hello guys, welcome back to the Sportsman Untitled, brought to you by Betfred. And as you can see, I'm back from holiday. Producer Seb stepped in last week. He did a very good job indeed. But I'm back now and I'm joined by Callum Fowler and our special guest, Lee Trundle. Pleasure to have you both on the show. We're going to do a Swansea City deep dive later on, so stay tuned for that one with Lee. But first, we need to talk about the Championship weekend that just was, because Callum, Middlesbrough, they're absolutely flying. 4 wins in a row now under Kim Hellberg. He's taken to this job like a duck to water, hasn't he?
But we said when Rob Edwards went, I remember we said it on here that it weren't going to be that big a deal. He looks good, him.
Is this like a we were right?
Yeah, it is.
Brag about this one.
Yeah, because everybody's quick to point out when you're wrong, aren't they? So he is some of him. They look a lot better going forward as well. Obviously they're conceding all the time, but I think defensively they just look better at everything. Honestly, I think anyway.
Yeah, he's had a real great impact. 3-1 win over QPR this weekend. I want to ask you, Lee, what's it like when a new manager comes in to a club and you have to deal with that as a player?
Yeah, I think it depends what the situation is. You know, if you're going through a bad patch, it can work both ways. I think if the manager comes in and he's got the right message, the right idea, and the lads take to him straight away, you know, you just carry on as you're going, or you get better, you know, as Middlesbrough have. And I think when you've got that threat going forward, you know, I know you say about them letting goals in, but when you've got that threat going forward, you're always going to be a force.
And Conway and Whittaker and Strelick is quite an attack. And he also had a little press conference that he did, which is going a bit viral at the minute, where he's like, never really played this formation before. But Callum, he said, all my best players play in the centre of the pitch. So that's what he's doing, playing like a 4-2-2-2. And it's working a treat. It's
proper. Like there's too many managers, I hate this, there's too many managers that have got this principle in their mind that they won't change from. If Middlesbrough have got all the best players centrally, why would you come in and say, well, we play 3-5-2, we're going to do this and this? If they've got players that work that way, I'm glad that he's doing that.
Yeah, do you see that in your coaching as well? I mean, when you're around coaches, do you think there is a thing where philosophies are a bit too stuck to it?
100%, and I think it's even worse when the team are not doing well. And people still stick to that formation, or they say, well, this is the way I play, I'm not going to go away from that. Now, if you're a football fan and your team's getting beat every week and your manager's coming out saying, I'm not going to go away from that, it's like, well, what are you going to do? Just be happy for us to get beat? And I think, you know, the way football is, I think some managers try and be too clever. All he's done there is common sense. He said where his best players are, and he's worked the formation to fit them players into his team, and it's working great for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tommy Conway even said, I'm going to say his ideas and the things he wants to do. I think everyone's a bit blown away by it. It's so clear when we go out onto the pitch. Everyone knows exactly what they need to do in and out of possession. I think that's obvious to see at Boro at the minute. I do think the Rob Edwards factor, though, you touched on it before, it's kind of landed in their favour, especially when you look at how Edwards is struggling at Wolves. It's almost like they've won the jackpot.
Anybody'd struggle at Wolves, though, wouldn't they? They can't look at it like that at a minute. Like, to have got compensation for him and then go and get a manager that looks better, like we were saying there about what it's like when you change manager, it must be difficult when you've done well and your manager gets poached to then, what if someone comes in and wants to play a different style to what's clearly working for you? Because that's what they've done. What would that be like, though?
Yeah, I think that is a hard part, but I think if you've got the players who want to buy into it as well, I think that's half of the battle. I think when a manager comes in and he's putting ideas in and the players don't really buy into it or they don't believe in it, I think that's when you start having trouble, because the players will push back against it. But, you know, with his ideas, the way the players are speaking, they can see that that's playing to their strengths as well, so it's suiting them, and they've gone on to another level.
You set result speed from seldom, don't they?
I know, really. And where can they take them? 5 points behind leaders Cov now, 4 wins in a row. Automatic promotion contenders, surely. Can they win the league?
Well, they could, couldn't they, obviously, but I don't think they would. But I think that's best of played against QPR. QPR aren't bad. No. They're no mugs at all. But Middlesbrough just looked a step above them everywhere.
Yeah,
weekend.
It feels like in the Championship we're waiting for the Ipswiches and the Southamptons, the usual parachute teams to come down, Lee. But Coventry and Middlesbrough at the top are kind of running away with it a little bit now.
Oh, definitely, and especially Coventry, you know, being really impressed with them. But I do think the Championship is one of them leagues where, you know, it can be like this now, but you can string a run of games together where if you go 4 or 5 unbeaten, and that can pop you straight back into an automatic place or even a contender to win the league. And I think that's why the Championship is so exciting, because even when you're down there, you know, you can make a late push and end up, we see it all the time, them teams who are mid-table or even below make a late push and end up getting in the playoffs. So that's why it's so exciting to watch.
Absolutely, and we were talking a little bit about Ipswich there, and we kind of expect them to get winning soon and over this Christmas period and expect them to break into the top 2, but slipped to a defeat at Leicester this weekend, Callum, and one of the goals of the season though from Abdul Fattah inside his own half. I mean, wrapped it up, and he surely.
Cleary's were better. Just quickly, the Cleary one away at Bradford were better than that one. Leicester, I just don't rate them though. I can't bring myself to like them. They've got some of the best players in the league. So obviously, I mean, I'm sat across from someone who do it all the time. If you got an edge at box, you just hit it, wouldn't you? What's point trying to walk it into net when you've got some of the best players in division? But I don't rate them going forwards. I don't think they're good enough in final third. That's a huge win, like. But I think there's a lot of traffic in between them and going up.
Is that
Leicester?
Is that a manager thing? Is that a number?
Maybe,
we talked about a lack of a number 9.
Yeah, I think that's clear. Everybody behind him.
Yeah.
Well, they've got Ayew, haven't they? Ayew started at weekend. Who again, ain't bad for Championship really. But compared to players that they've got around him, I think that's definitely a weak point. Me.
Yeah. What do you think about him?
I think if you look at Ayew as well, he's not really. When you say a number 9, he will like to drift out and come. He likes to go and get deep and get on the ball. So I do know where you're coming from there. But when I've seen them this year, I have been impressed with them going forward because they have got players who can hurt you. But I think it's one of them where you're expecting more from them. And I think that's where the disappointment lies, because you see the squad and you look on paper and you think, well, you should be doing more than what you're doing at the moment.
And there's the lingering points deduction that we have to talk about potentially happening with Leicester for the rest of time, apparently, because apparently the EFL aren't yet going to implement it. What you just said there, Lee, probably really applies to Ipswich Town as well, because they win a few games, massive win over Coventry, eye-catching, and then can't really kick on from it. Yeah,
and before the start of the season, I had Ipswich Town as I thought they'd be straight back up there, because I was really impressed with them when I seen them in the Championship. Obviously lost key players as well, big players where the goals come from, so that is always, doesn't just affect the team, but it affects the confidence of the team as well, because they're the players that they would rely on to go and win games for them, and with them losing that. But I do still think they do have enough, and they've got a manager with that experience, so I do think that they can push on a little bit more. But the way it's going now, where they are is probably a fair reflection of them.
Agree with that?
Yeah. Well, they're 8 points off, aren't they? 8 points off Middlesbrough. They've always got the January aspect, haven't they, as well? But that's the strong point of Middlesbrough, I think. If it were Preston, no disrespect to him, or Hull or somebody that can't chuck the same amount of money about, you'd worry for him. But Middlesbrough, I can't see anybody catching them really, because they're 8 points in front of Ipswich, who are the biggest threat, and they're not going to be shy in January, are they, Middlesbrough?
No, you think they have to gamble at some point. But what about Leicester, bringing it back to that? Are they playoff contenders for you, or do you have to have that little asterisk next to them saying they're probably going to get points deducted?
But then at the same time, I've not rated them once really, and they're 8th. So if that's them not being that good, if it clicks for them, then you never know, do you? If the 3 points off someone like, again, Hull, no disrespect to them, then they're always in with a shout, aren't they? Really, they're not going to be far off.
Absolutely. And Seb did say to me, producer Seb, are you only coming back because Coventry won this weekend? And to that I say, absolutely. Obviously, Coventry back top of the league. Responded to a bit of a tricky week, and you said that you were impressed with them with a 1-0 win over Bristol City. 7 home wins on the bounce now, which is incredible run, and obviously taking them to the top of the league. How important can home form be for a team that's trying to do what they're trying to do?
I think it's massive in the Championship. I think if you win your own games and you pick your points away from home, I think you're halfway there. But I think with the confidence they've got in the team, Frank Lampard, we spoke last time I was on the show about him getting back into football, getting himself back into the Premier League, which he's on his way to doing that, and he signed well, last season, and you look at them now and they're doing excellent.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job. Carl Rushworth, the one I want to pick up from this, because he was absolutely superb. A couple of late saves to secure 3 points. Coventry conceded quite a lot of chances.
Yeah.
And they've conceded quite a lot of goals. I think it was 1 clean sheet in 9 before the weekend. But they've got a really, really good goalkeeper who can make the difference. And I think it's okay sometimes to be an attacking team that scores a lot of goals but concedes chances if you have a top goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's like Stoke, isn't it? Well, Stoke have probably got best keeper in the league. Like Sheffield United last season were really good defensively. So if you have got best keeper, like you're saying, you're halfway there. I do think you can be got at though. Like obviously if your keeper's there he can save you all the time, but defensively you do concede a fair few chances, and teams having a go at you a bit more recently, especially with Ipswich scoreline didn't help. But if you've got that much going forward, then you're going to be up there anyway, aren't you? If you scored 52 goals in 21 games, you're going to be up there.
Yeah, are you slightly worried then that you think Coventry will win the league, do you still?
Yeah, I think you'll win the league.
Comfortably, or a bit more worried about?
I think you'll be comfortably clear of third.
With Boro in second, is that what you're saying? at this point in time?
Probably. Well, 8 points Ipswich to Middlesbrough, but I think if you wouldn't finish top two, I'll be shocked. There's no way.
Oh, please
There's
don't.
no way.
Let's
Speaking it, I'll print it out there now.
Do you think there's a chance that, because Coventry tried to sign Carl Rushworth permanently in the summer and Brighton said only a loan. He's English, he's young, he's good age, I think he's 23, 24. Brighton have got a good keeper in Verbruggen. Is there any chance that they let a player go to Coventry? Because they sold Victor Gyökeres to Coventry and it was a bit of a regret for them. Can you see Rushworth making the move permanent?
Yeah, probably. If you go up in summer, I think so.
Just to be a first choice keeper in
why not? If he's doing it now, I don't see why not.
I just think Brighton might come to regret it. No?
But they've got that many players in so many different positions, haven't they? It's a different step up for a Europe side.
I also think the other side on that, if you do get to the Premier League, then obviously his price tag goes up as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
you're gonna recruit money. He has been a player that has been sent out a lot on loan. We had him at Swansea, done really well there. I think the fans was sorry to see him leave. So he is a quality keeper.
Yeah.
But I just think once you reach that level of Premier League as well, if you're Rushworth at that age, you want to then say, listen, I want to establish myself at a club now. I don't want to be going out on loan. I'm in the Premier League. I've done the hard work. You can get a good fee for me. And now he's a Premier League player and he's got his own club, and so he can settle a little bit.
Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, on paper? What did you think of goalkeepers when you were playing at the other end of the pitch? What were your thoughts on keepers?
Well, I think the two hardest jobs on the pitch for me is a goalkeeper and a striker, because one's got to stop the goals, one's got to score the goals, and that's what you're judged by. So, when you've got a good goalkeeper behind you as well, it does give you that confidence. And I think, as you say, with Coventry going forward, with the amount of goals that they've scored, you're always going to leave spaces at the back because you're playing more advanced, so you are going to leave spaces. But when you've got the confidence of a keeper like that who can make them match-winning saves for you, you always know, well, we can take more chances going forward because he'll be there to help us out.
Absolutely. I don't know what to say about Preston, Callum, so I'm throwing to you because I keep underestimating them. They keep winning. They're now third in the Championship. They've only lost 4 in 21 games.
Eke is a really good gaffer. I think he's proved it a few times with sides that ain't got biggest budgets and all. Because they had a massive turnover players them. Like Sheffield, when he went up with Sheffield United, they didn't exactly spend loads of brass. I know they had Njai at time. He did well with Barnsley. He's doing well here now. I think he's a very good manager. My only worry for Preston would be him leaving. Really.
Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, if someone like, we said this before we started, but if someone like West Brom sat the manager, or Wrexham, one of them that's got more money, I'd be scared about going for someone like Eke.
Really? I don't know if he's an attractive enough manager for another
He's got
Championship.
Preston in third.
Yeah, I know. But I still think there's the stigma about him in terms of, I don't know, English defensive football.
Do you know what, Nat, though? I also think on the other side of it, if I know there's no disrespect to Preston, I played at Preston for a little bit. If you're getting a team like Preston in that position, there's something, you've got something about you, whether it's a lot of that is probably down to your man management, because you haven't got the finances there where you can bring these brilliant quality in to push you up there. So what he's doing is a great job, and I do think that is attractive for clubs to look at, because also clubs would look at and say, well, even if we don't want to spend money, he's still got something about him where he will get the team working, and I think that is, especially in football today, I think that's always going to be great for a club to look at, to bring a manager like that in.
Yeah, and you look at like Daniel Jefferson, who's just been fantastic this season, really grown into the role. By the way, on my notes here, it says that Seb on last week's show said that Preston were the biggest team in the Championship. Thoughts on that?
Crazy. Come on,
that's why he's back behind the camera this week.
Yeah.
Should we come up with the right answer for that now that we've relegated Seb back to behind?
Well, I would say West Brom. Just straight off the bat. You can't say Swansea.
No, if I've got, so I would probably say
Wrexham.
No, I would probably go for like an Ipswich. I would go.
Yeah,
Europe.
That is a good point. I would go for one of the Sheffield clubs. Maybe.
Can I just say, Sheffield United haven't won a trophy in like 100 years, so it can't be them.
What is size of club though, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, well, everybody is arguing over biggest dwarf, aren't they? But I'd say West Brom.
All right. Maybe we'll go with West Brom. Team we should talk about: Norwich beat Southampton 2-1. Callum, Adam Armstrong missed a crucial penalty, and McCamber scored 2 goals with Josh Sargent out, so he did very well. Second one was slightly controversial as he handballed it into the net. What did you make of Norwich?
They looked really good under this Philip Clement. They looked good straight away, but it was worrying that they weren't winning as enough. Because what good's a point when you're like 7 points off at time? I know everybody else is starting to pick up more points. Portsmouth won a weekend, Swansea doing good. So to actually get a win of at line were good, because they went to Sheffield United and got a good point as well. Yeah. I think they're doing much, much better. Yeah, 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat in the last 5 for Norwich and Philippe Clement. And he came in with a decent amount of experience. Looked like a good hire, and that's kind of panning out.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's crazy to see where they are when you look at a club like Norwich and the size of them as well. But it just shows you how tough the Championship is. But it also shows you how close the teams are as well, where you've got someone in second to bottom and they're still going winning games against Southampton, like a big club like Southampton as well. And I think the Championship for me is, you've got players who are Premier League standard. It's just how many of them turn it on the day. So if you get 6 or 7 of your players all at the level, at the top level, even if you're a bottom side, you can go and beat the top side as well, because I think it's that close, and I think that's what makes the league so exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think Norwich will stay up? Do you think Norwich will stay up?
I just think they're too big, and I think with the amount of football we've got to play, I think with the starting to pick up now, I just think that I can't see them staying where they are.
Yeah,
I think that they're going to get out of it.
Yeah, I felt about Norwich how I felt about Sheffield United, which brings me to our bet that we had last time you were on the show. Callum, 20 quid we had on. I said Sheffield United. Well, they were both in the bottom 3, by the way, when we made this bet. Yeah. I said Sheffield United would finish above Norwich. You said Norwich would finish above Sheffield United. How's the table looking right now in front of you?
You're 6 points in front of you, but this is Sheffield United with best spell they've ever had, and they're only 6 points in front of you. So, you know what I mean?
Your Barnsley bias is shining through.
I'm not bothered about Sheffield. I'm looking at -9, me. That's all I'm bothered about.
I am slightly worried about Norwich's good form, but as I say, I do think they will stay up. The second goal, handball, we all saw it, didn't get given. VAR mention? May I mention VAR? No. You'd take one of them a season against you, wouldn't you, to get rid of VAR? What do you reckon?
I think it levels itself up, doesn't it? And I enjoy the no VAR, and it's because I think it's proper football and it's proper emotion. You look at the Premier League and you see someone score a goal, and that feeling's not there to go and celebrate, because they're half waiting to see what's going to happen. Yeah. And even as a fan as well, that moment when you score the goal, that's your joy, straight up. It's not like, let's wait, and then when the goal is given, you've lost that moment when it's hit the back of the net. So for me, VAR is, I would rather go without it, and if decisions go against you, I think it will even itself up over the season for you.
I completely agree with you. Do you think you'd have scored more or less with VAR?
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I've scored goals where it's been where as it's come off my arm and stuff like that. Or there's other ones where I've slid in and the defender's slid in and he's put it in and I've been with him and the goal's been given to me. So
is that how you run off celebrating?
I'm not moaning about them ones.
Because I think if I wasn't there, he wouldn't have had to put it in. So anyway, it's being given, and the defender doesn't want it, does he? He doesn't get given a goal. So I'd rather play football freely, and whatever happens. And I think the little dark arts is something that helps you as a defender, whether you're pulling someone back or whether you're holding someone as a striker. I think they're little skills in the game which I like to stay in, so be no VAR for me.
Agree with that, Callum?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. It's the worst thing ever.
It is absolutely awful.
And they get it wrong anyway, so what's the point?
I think the only one that works really, no one argues, is the goal line technology. Yeah. As soon as that goes off, you won't see a player argue on that. Where every other thing is, there is a argument, isn't it, about it? Are you right or wrong?
I want to bring you back and get your view actually on the Sheffield United Norwich bet. Who finishes higher? Who are you siding with here? Chris Wilder or Philippe Clement's Norwich?
Do you know what? I would probably have to go with Wilder. I just think what he's done with the club in the past. I just think that he'll push them up the table a little bit more. And we're Norwich. They need to start winning games now, even though, as we say, you can string 3 games together and you're right up out of it as well. So it's an interesting one, but if I was a betting man, I would go Sheffield United.
Exactly.
Gonna cash out now.
We'll leave it running to the end of this season. Lee, we're now going to talk about you and Swansea, of course. For those that don't know, what are you up to at the minute?
Yeah, so club ambassador still at Swansea, so we'll be out and about in the community. When the club need representing of things, I'll go along, and on a match day I'll host the lounges there, along with when Swans are away. I'll still play my own football in the Welsh League, so a little bit of that, and started a little bit of boxing as well. So I had my second fight on Friday night, stopped him in the 3rd round, so I'm enjoying that.
You had a quick comment about Lee last time you were on the
show. Massive, yeah.
Do you know what? So on this second fight, because it was my first ever fight, so I didn't know what I was doing, and I still don't really. I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm getting better each time. But I've done a full weights program along with my boxing training, and I just felt too big on this last fight. I never done no weight; it was just boxing training, and I felt a lot more freer and less robotic. So, but got me in great shape, and that's why I wanted to I wanted to get in and have another go, because I didn't want to lose the shape. And so that's why I carried on.
Who have you beaten?
So it was just a local lad, used to be on a show called The Call Centre. It was a Swansea show, so it was a bit of like he was off that ex-footballer. So we had it in a place called the Warehouse Gym on Friday night, which was a really good turnout and really good atmosphere there.
You going to keep that going?
Yeah, I want to keep going. Yeah, I enjoy the training, as I say, I enjoy picking the little bits up and learning. As I say, I'm not good. I've only been doing it since September, but I enjoy seeing a little change and getting better each session. So it's something that I'll keep doing.
Any influences you want to call out, Callum, while you're on the show?
Not Lee Trundle, that's for sure.
Conor McGilligan said he wants a bit of a scrap with you, I think, didn't he?
It's weight class, isn't it, actually? We're going to go for height thing then, but any excuse to not get in there.
Are you doing any coaching with young players at the minute?
So I'll go in and do a little bit of one-on-one stuff with the forwards sometimes, but not doing a coaching where I'm in all the time. It's something where, because I still enjoy playing myself. So my focus is more on that. I'll be 50 next year. I said I wanted to play at the Welsh League level till I was 50. I wanted to do that. So if I do that, and then when I finish, I would like to go into on the coaching side then, and I'd like to go into Swansea, whether it's helping out with whatever age there, because it's something I've been in football all my life. So it's something I enjoy doing, and especially with Swansea, it's something that I'd definitely like to do with them and pass my knowledge on to them youngsters, and then see where that takes you.
It must be good for kids that, how robotic football is though. For a lot of it, and I feel like you get it coached out of you a bit. So if someone like Trundle showing you what to do, mate, it must be good for kids that.
I feel like when just when you go into training, when you're showing the forwards how to finish that or something like that, a bit of forward coaching, I always think, why don't the great players of that club just go in and give them a few
Barnes have got a few of ours knocking about now. That used to be good for
Ian Wright at Arsenal and stuff like that. Just go in and have a word with them.
Do you know what? I think that they miss it. These clubs miss a trick from doing that. Because there's only good that can come from it. Because if you're a young lad as well, and someone like that, if you talk about Arsenal and it's Ian Wright or whatever, or Henry is there, why would you not want to lift your level to show them that you're a good finisher? Just in yourself, it would give you, and then picking little tips up from them. I think a lot of clubs miss out on great opportunities which they could use.
There's so many little things that I'm sure we're not even remotely aware of what happens on a football pitch as the number 9. And that's the sort of little... Is there any little tips that you would say you try and pass on that you could pick out? Yeah,
sometimes mine is, where, like, and this was Kevin Reeves taught me this. He was one of I think he was the second or third £1 million player. Like, he went to Man City. And he said to me, sometimes, people go on about your forwards making runs and making them darting runs. Sometimes you just slow yourself down and walk and let the defenders go off you to get your space. And the way I played, I was never someone who would then dart across that near post and slide in with a finish or get a diving header. I was someone who I would probably always usually hang around the edge of the box for them cutbacks to finish like that. So that was something that got me a lot of goals, where I would go to run and then I would stop, come out, the defender would come off me, I'd get that space to play and then get me shot off. So little things like that, which I would never have thought of. I was always thought, you're a striker, be on the move all the time, get yourself going. And he'd always say to me, the first run is for them and the next one's for you. So your first one is to move them somewhere where you want to be the opposite. So that the little things like that I would pick up and pass on to the youngsters as well.
That's a really good point. You think, how do managers take that of you, like, not running as much, though, basically, isn't it? It's making less moves, doing less work, but trying to get in better positions.
Yeah, but I think it's doing it at the right time. Obviously, you'd still dart your run in to go, and then you might slow it down and walk it, move into a different position to get the ball. And I think as long as if you're scoring goals off it, the manager will not say anything, because you're making decisions for yourself and getting the reward from it.
Would you have anything to say to a young Lee Trundle at this age with this experience? You mentioned 50 next year, all these clubs you've played for. Would you tell young Lee Trundle any advice? Yeah,
100%. Mine would just be then to, you've got to put everything into it. Because when I was a youngster, I didn't turn professional till I was 24. And a lot of that was down to my attitude, the way I was off the field and the way I lived my life. Even as a professional as well, I definitely lived my life more like a professional now, even when I played. I'll go and see a dietitian, I'll get my bloods done every 6 months, food intolerances, things like that, the gym plans.
That's why you're so good at the boxing. Well-oiled machine.
Do you know what? I think it all helps because if, and especially as you get older, if you want to carry on playing or you want to carry on being active, you've got to look after yourself like that, because you can't carry on the way you did. Like, if when you was younger, because your body changes. So mine would be to a youngster to put every effort into it. And if you want to be a footballer or whatever you want to be, you've got to make that your focus, and you've got to, them outside distractions have got to leave you, because it's only a short career as well. Once you're a youngster and you're in it, you think you've got loads of time, but you ask any player, it goes by so fast. And then when you do finish, you think, I would love to be back there playing again. Like the Christmas period, I used to think, can't do anything over Christmas, it's our busiest games. As soon as you finish, I would give anything to be back in that dressing room and on that pitch, to be playing on Boxing Day, New Year's Day, because it's something that you miss.
Yeah, on Christmas actually, because we are coming up to the festive season. It's an interesting point you make, because I don't think fans especially realise that it's quite a lot of dedication, isn't it? Especially going in Christmas Day a lot of the time, training, playing on the Boxing Day.
And you know what, even if you think about it this way, where you've got to then go in on Christmas Day and then you have to travel away that night, so you're away from your family, or then you're in a hotel New Year's Eve away from your family because you've got a game the next day. And I'd say Christmas for me and a lot of players, that's probably was the hardest part, because everyone else is celebrating, relaxing, letting the hair down, and it's probably your busiest period as a player. The amount of games you have over that, like the festive season, you've got to be, you're playing, recover, so it is a very busy time for players.
What's your Christmas looking like, Cal? Same sort of schedule, is it?
I'm just getting on it, me.
Yeah. You're a Bailey's man?
No, or a Guinness man, me.
Oh, okay, all right. Any
other drinks are available.
Yeah, we're getting a sponsor for that, not bad at all. We should talk about Swansea right now, actually, because it's been an interesting start to the season. I think it's fair to say. Callum, I'll come to you first. Currently sitting 19th, obviously had to get rid of Alan Sheehan at one point. New managers come in and start to turn it around, I think, slowly. But what are your thoughts on Swansea this season? I'm
a lot more worried last week than I am now. I think they've had a very good week. The Portsmouth and Oxford wins were massive. But I'll tell you what, I did like them away at Stoke at weekend, because that's a very tough fixture. You've got to beat your Portsmouth and Oxfords anyway if you want any sort of chance when you look at where they are. But nobody really gave them a chance going to Stoke, and I thought they were a better side.
Yeah.
I thought they were really good. So you've got to be putting more performances like that in. And like I said, I was worried about them last week. Not as much now when you look at some sides.
I really like Zamfopotnik, the striker. Oh, yeah. He got another goal this weekend, and I presume you're a big fan as well, Lee.
Yeah, definitely, and especially this season, he's been unbelievable. He had a chance first half as well, which we would usually put away. But we spoke about Stoke's keeper. He is an excellent goalkeeper. Made a great save. But then he got his goal in the second half, and I just think from the game, Stoke just had them moments where I think they were a bit more direct. When they played, they wanted to come out sort of cheating in a way, where the winger stays high and wide, and they want to get the ball out to him. As soon as he got it, he was direct and going taking defenders on. But I think through the game, you have Potnick's chance first half. We had one cleared off the line towards the end, which would have made it 2-2, where he slid in and made a great block off a Noosa's shot. But same again, what I was impressed with as well is that we never give up. We kept on going to the end. And I think when you look at teams down there, usually when it is 2-1 and it's at the end, you can see them, they're deflated, and it's like, oh, here we go again. I don't think that Swansea had that on the weekend against Stoke. They were still trying towards the end, and when the board went up for 7 minutes, the Stoke fans sort of booed a little bit, because they could see the tide was turning. And I think that's a thing where you look at it, Stoke are doing really well at the moment. It's always a tough place to go, but with the performance that they showed me in them little flashes, I do think that we'll be okay.
When Ben Person scores the goal, he scores,
and
he scores the first goal in about 35 years or something. Looking at his celebration, there's a bit of Peter Crouch in there. I just think it's a bit unfortunate there. I do think Swansea have some decent players going forward though, and there is something there. Have you seen anything with the new manager that you're encouraged by? Yeah,
definitely. I think he's got a charisma about him. All the players have took to him. I'll go down after games as well, and I'll stand in the dressing room when I can hear the team talk, or when he's debriefing at the end. And his message that he's getting across is the right message. I think he spoke about the Swansea way going, that we went away from that a little bit, so he's trying to get that back. And also, it's been tough for him because he hasn't been able to bring his backroom staff in yet. They've had problems with the visa, so that's getting sorted at the moment. So for him to come in, even though Joe Allen and Leon Britton, two Swans legends, are coming to help him, I think you still need your own staff to get that message across. And I think once they come in, you've already seen where we picked up a little bit. I think once they're all sorted and in, I think we'll start climbing the table again, because with the players that we have got good players in there. You look at someone like Ethan Galbraith.
He's good. Oh, my word.
The only thing, like, he played right back on the weekend, but it's one of them where you wish you could have two of them and put him at right back and put him as a number 10 as well, or in that midfield, because he's one of them players wherever he plays, he could still give you a man of the match performance. So I've been really impressed with him. And I think the hard part is once you're down there, it's always tough on players' confidence. And I think the games against Portsmouth and Oxford, you're expected to win them at home. So they was a bit more cagey, where we never really got going. But I think now, after coming into the game against Wrexham, is a massive game, and I think that's one where we'll start to kick on.
Absolutely, we're going to preview that later on in the show. I wanted to talk to you about Matt Grimes as well. As a Coventry fan, what a signing he's been, and what a Championship footballer he is. He's come in, become captain, and he is the reason why we're top of the league, a massive reason.
Yeah, and I think it goes to show, especially when you're a new player coming in, when the manager puts your captain, that says something about the influence that you have on the team and in the dressing room. And he's a very experienced player as well. Started off as a youngster when we were around the Premier League, so he's seen that. He played and trained with them quality of players, and then he's been an amazing Championship player, as a midfielder, where he'll drop in deep and get the ball. But the way he starts to play off, if he... Our fans was a little bit, didn't like it when he went, but I think that's also because you sort of know what you're losing as well. The more they like you when you go, the more that it can go against you as well. But I think he's gone to show. He's gone to Coventry, got the captaincy, and been one of the main players, and as you say, one of the main reasons why Coventry are top of the league.
Absolutely. Any questions about Swansea for Philip?
No, Grimes is absolutely, he is very, very good. Like when we played you in playoffs a few years ago, you had Gay at a time, who were in Monster, and he locked DK up. But we couldn't get near him because of Grimes. We had Bournemouth and Brentford in there as well as that season. And if we had them two, I think we'd do it. I knew we'd lose to them because Grimes just controls games, doesn't he? And he's just doing it for you now. Yeah,
absolutely.
He's very good.
But as you say, Galbraith, that feels like really smart recruitment from the lower leagues. He's been performing well, but for Swansea to be the club to go and pick him up, or maybe not quite a Grimes replacement, but going into midfield and doing that, fantastic.
100%. A completely different player to Grimes as well, but he's one of them where you look at him, and as from a Swansea point of view, it's how long are you going to have him?
Yeah.
Because he just stands out every game, and you can see the quality that he's got. And I think, a lot of Championship clubs are the same, where you buy these players, they do well for you, and it's sort of someone's going to come in. And that's with managers as well. That always happens to Swansea, where people look at them as a desirable club. The managers that we've had that have went on to go to bigger clubs and do well, and it's the same with players as well. But he is someone who certainly a lot of clubs will be monitoring. But for us, I think it was good to get him from Orient. Then he's come into his next step, and he's excelled again. I look at him and I think he is Premiership quality.
I think that's the thing with a lot of Championship clubs, because unless you're relegated from the Premier League, you have to or you've got a Disney documentary or whatever. There's two exceptions in the league this season. Clubs like Swansea, Preston, Millwall, Hull, we talk about them, they don't have loads and loads of money. They've got to find a different way to do things.
Swansea best at that, because they're never in this conversation ever, really. I can't remember last time Swansea finished in and around this position that they're in now. And it's not, like we're saying, it's not one at size that's got biggest attendances or turnovers or stuff like that. They spend the money well and they sell at right time constantly, and that's why they're always away from sort of this.
Yeah, I think if you look at Swansea, what we will do, we'll sign potential.
Yeah,
don't really go out and sign a Kiefer Moore who's a proven goal scorer, or we sign people who you get a chance with us, you show what you can do, and then you sort of get sold on to a bigger club, and that's the model that they've sort of followed for many years now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting to see what they can achieve this season. Where do you think this season ends for Swansea? I mean, we had a bit of a turnaround. There were relegation concerns, but the new manager's had a good week, as Callum says. Is it a chance to get mid-table this season?
Yeah, definitely. I think that we would be looking for mid-table. I think now where you are, obviously you're looking behind you rather than more forward at the moment, which is worrying. But as we say, a couple of games and you can pop yourself up, and as soon as you start getting into that middle of the table, you start relaxing a bit more as a team as well, because when you're down there, that from the fans, it comes onto the pitch. Every pass, bad pass, you hear a sigh, it's a boo, and so it is edgy like that. So as soon as you get out of that, people relax, and I think the players that we've got young good talent in there. Once they're relaxed a bit more, I think you will see a lot more from them, and we'll start climbing the table.
How's I've mentioned Vipotnik earlier, but Franco as well seems like a good player. How's he been getting on?
Yeah, Franco was amazing last season and probably our main player. I think since Galbraith has come in, he's took a little bit of a different, backward step. I don't know whether it's because if Galbraith is so good and he's the one who's eye-catching now, and Franco's sort of fitting in a bit because he'd been in and out the side earlier on in the season. But same, a quality player. He's a fan's favourite, gets around the pitch well, and he's someone when he's in that midfield, he doesn't give anyone time on the ball. He's always working hard, and I think as a football fan, you love seeing your players doing that, giving everything for the shirt, and that's something that he does. And
last question on the manager I want to ask you is, we touched on earlier in the show about some managers being too stuck to their philosophy. Have you seen enough flexibility in him so far?
Yeah, I think he will look to change, and I think once you're coming into a club like that, it is something that you've got to have on your mind. He's only a young manager as well, he's only pretty new to the game really. So
worked with Klopp, did he?
Yeah, he worked with Klopp, and then for me another big thing as well, when he went out to Salzburg, Pep Linders took him as his assistant. Now Pep Linders was, they say he was the mastermind with Klopp. Then Pep Guardiola has took him to Man City. So if you're working under them two managers, you've got something about you. And then Pep took him as his assistant manager. So for me, that says something. He must see something in him as well, which is nice. And I think a lot of Swansea fans beforehand were saying, no, he's unknown. But for me, we had Roberto Martinez, who'd never managed a game in his life and come in and done one of the best jobs at Swansea. We do give managers a chance, and I would rather see these new managers coming in than recycle someone who's been sacked 4 or 5 times and you're getting the same thing. Give someone else a chance, let him come in and see what he's about, and with the start that he's had and what I've seen, I'm happy with him being there.
Swansea's managerial recruitment has been so impressive over the last 5 years. I know Sheehan got the job after a good run of form. It didn't quite work out this season, but you look at some of the managers they've had and what they've gone on to achieve. It seems like a club where the manager fits the system, and that's why I think that Matos will get more time than, like Joe Edwards at Millwall didn't work out because he didn't get much time and he was trying to change too much. This feels like the right man potentially at the right club with the right philosophy that's also going to give him enough time to work.
There's a lot of clubs that's doing it though, isn't there, that's going for unknown. Swansea probably one it iced up that's doing it. A lot of them, like Luton, have got for Wilshere. We've got Orion. There's a lot of them new managers coming through, but Swansea one it iced that are willing to take that risk, which I like as well.
Ryan Mason, West Brom potentially as well in that
category. Yeah, true. Well, some of them work better than others, obviously. But yeah, I like this fellow that's coming.
Yeah,
I do.
Very good indeed. There's been a lot of talk on podcasts about wages and money earned, Lee. So I'm going to ask you a cheeky question here, because you got a £1 million move to Bristol City. What was the biggest contract of your career? Can you remember it? Do you want to share it?
I won't share the figures, but it was Bristol City was the one. That was my biggest move. I was 31 at that time as well. £1 million, which back then was a fee where you look at £1 million. Now £1 million in football is not that much. But it would have been Bristol City, which would have been my biggest contract.
And that was the main deciding factor that you decided to leave Swansea?
Yeah, well, I think because, if you look at it, everything at Swansea, I was enjoying my football. I loved living in the city. But then for me, turning professional at 24, wasn't earning big wages at Wrexham, because then I'd only come from non-league, so I was probably lowest paid at Wrexham. It wasn't until I started to Swansea, then I started moving on. So it was a factor of everything. It was becoming £1 million player, which I never thought would happen, which is nice for when you finish to say that happened. Going into the Championship then with Bristol, because Bristol had got promoted, and as I say, I was 31. I'd just missed out. We'd been beaten in the playoff final by Barnsley as well.
You battered us and all.
Yeah.
We got battered.
I had that chance where I come on, so I was subbed that game, come on, and I just put one past the post, but just missing out on a playoff as well, it's like so disheartening. And at 31 for me, it's when am I going to get this chance to go into the Championship? So everything was stacked in my favour to go, and it was just one of them that I couldn't turn down.
Yeah, makes sense, especially at that age in your career. It sounds like the right decision to do. I asked you this earlier about who you want to box. Rio Ferdinand did a bit of boxing, didn't he? Any celebrity footballers you think you could take on?
Do you know
retired?
What? I'm not that good enough to start calling people out yet, so I'll stay away from calling the names.
Jake Paul's got a fight this weekend.
For that money, I'd have a go at that 100%. I'll call him out for that money.
When he gets beaten by AJ, next up, Jake Paul versus Lee Trundle.
I'd take that 100%. But with the boxing point of view, if it was anyone who's around the same level who's only just started. I would have a go with anyone in there. I just think once you start going with people and you see it in sparring, once they're them little levels above,
and you get battered, then you might think something different, might you?
It's so hard, and even like they could be even a lot smaller, but just the skill, the movement, the technique, what they've got. I think it's so hard to match their level. So if it's someone around my level, I'll have a go.
Wazza fancies a bit, doesn't he?
But Wazza's he's a big boxing fan, right into his boxing as well. Probably we'd be different on weights there, though. I'd be a bit bigger than me. He's a Scouser as well, so I wouldn't like to fight another Scouser. Let's stick together.
Wayne Rooney versus Lee Trundle on Misfits. That would be, absolutely go off. Right, we're going to do some weekend previews now. We're going to start with Swansea versus Wrexham because it's the Friday night game. Is this a bit of a derby? Talk to us about this rivalry.
Do you know what? I'd say it's a Welsh derby. And if you're the only two Welsh teams in the league, it's always going to cause a stir.
You like saying that.
Although the other lot, they're top of the league, and it looks like they will come back. They've done really well. It doesn't, pains me to say it, but they have done really well this year. And I have missed them a little bit. They'll be back in the league next year, and that is the derby game. The Swansea Cardiff one is massive. That's the one. But I think with the Wrexham one, it's an all Welsh derby. I think you've got the added thing of Ryan Reynolds and Rob there. You've got Snoop Dogg and Modric for us, so that brings something extra to it. And the two teams haven't played each other for many years. And for me as well, it's my two ex teams. Wrexham was my first team that gave me professional contract, and obviously Swansea is my team now. So it's a nice one for me, and nice to see Wrexham back in the Championship and doing what they're doing.
Presume you'll be down there for that game.
100%. Yeah. So I work every home game anyway, but that was one. Even when it's the away game, I'll definitely go to that one and watch that as well, because it's something that I'm looking forward to.
And on the pitch, Phil Parkinson doing a reasonable job, Callum Fowler.
I think he could get a lot more out of that team.
Just to fill you in, we've got a Phil Parkinson hater.
Not a hater.
You are a hater.
No, I think he's done very well up until this point, but
yeah, but they're on a good unbeaten run.
Do you also think, though, whoever was the manager at this point, they were always going to plateau at one part, and when you got to the Championship, that was always going to happen? Because I think the National League and League Two are more or less the same.
Yeah.
I think League Two and the top six, if you're up there in League One, are more or less the same. It's once you get to the Championship where the level changes, and then you find out how hard it is. But I think for what the job that Parkinson's done, you've got to give him a chance in here. I think where he is now and what he's doing is acceptable for now. I know they've spent a bit of money and wages.
6 points off the playoffs.
Yeah, but
that's a couple of weeks.
You don't come up and spend 30 million quid to just sit there in middle of the table, I don't think.
No, but if they're in the chance, if they're 6 points off the playoffs in January, they'll have a bit more of a
but
go.
Everybody's 6 points off the playoffs.
That is the Championship, isn't it?
I think 10 draws this season already. They're competitive. Maybe they're not getting enough wins on the board. They're tough to beat. Keith Moore, we've already mentioned him. We know what he's all about. Drew 2-2 with Watford at the weekend as well. 92nd minute equaliser, which is important. What's your score prediction for Swansea versus Wrexham? How do you see it going?
I'd probably go with a draw, because Wrexham have got that many. They're all right away from home. They don't win enough, do they? But they're good at not getting beat, I guess you could say, away from home. So I'd probably go with a draw. I'd go for a 1-1.
That's very boring of you, What about you, Lee? Come on.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 Swans win. I do think it'll be a tight game, because it will be a nice occasion as well. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-0 Swans win.
I think I'll go for a feisty rivalry under the lights. I have to back Swansea, don't I? Lee Trundle is there. He's sat right there. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Swansea win. I think that's a belting game to watch on Friday night, by the way. Next up, we're going to look at Hull versus West Brom, Callum, because Hull, I keep, like Preston, underrating Hull City. 2 wins on the bounce now. They're up to 6th. Beat Millwall 3-1 as well. They're so difficult to predict, though, as are West Bromwich Albion under Ryan Mason. 2-0 winners over Sheffield United this weekend.
West Brom should have put more past them, but again, I don't think they're all that cracking West Brom, to be honest, this season. I think they'll look the better side. They've got a lot going for it. McBurney scored loads. All 3 of them have scored a few. Gelhart's got a few. I've got Joseph's got 6, I think.
He scored 2 at the weekend as well.
Yeah, all their attacking options are scoring a lot of goals. I just think they do simple stuff quite well, and I think they beat West Brom.
I think there'll definitely be a lot of goals in it.
Yeah.
Surely.
But not enough for West Brom.
Do you know what I think when I look at Hull and West Brom? I kind of put Swansea in that category of teams that could... They're all playoff contenders, kind of, aren't they? They could be this season. Both these teams pushing, Hull doing exceptionally well. I
think one of the biggest things was the Ollie McBurney signing for Hull as well. With that experience that he's got, he's a great character as well to have in the dressing room, and he's getting your goals as well. for me, he's an old-fashioned centre-forward where he will put himself about. You know, he likes to get in the box, really good in the air, big and strong, and, you know, he's done really well for them.
Fans' favourite and all, you know.
Yeah.
I think he gets everybody on side. Sheffield United's only one with split room. I loved him at Barnsley.
They'd have had him back though, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, of course. I think
if
if Wilder were there in summer, I think they would have got him back.
Yeah.
Score prediction then for Hull versus West Bromley. What are you going to
I'm going to go Hull 2-0.
2-0.
I'll go 3-1 Hull.
Let's go 3-3. Let's have a belt. Come on. And we're going to finish with Blackburn versus Millwall. Now, I must kind of prelude this by saying, are we sure that this game is actually going to finish at Ewood Park? Because it's December, there's going to be a lot of rain. We've seen 2 games postponed there already, which is just a nightmare for Championship clubs. I feel sorry for them. Blackburn, no wins at 4 and lost at Portsmouth this weekend. Can Millwall go there and get a win if the game finishes, Callum?
Yeah, but they've got a lot of injuries. I do like Millwall, but they've got a lot of injuries, especially at Middlesbrough Park. And Blackburn, I just like Ismail as well. I'm just biased to Barnes and me, but I really like Ismail, and I think he's doing a good job with him. If it can stay on, I'd probably go in with a draw there, as boring as it is.
I'll go for a Blackburn 2-1 win there.
Okay. Millwall have got a lot about them, haven't they? Alex Neil
they have
to win these games.
Too many injuries at Middlesbrough Park. I'm going
to ignore you because that's what I do most of the time.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win to Millwall.
I hope so. I want Millwall to get in there.
And our Sportsman Untitled Extra coming to you later in the week will feature Southampton versus Coventry, the game we are looking at for that one. But I'm going to finish today with a little fun quiz question. Now, it's kind of a higher or a lower game for both of you to agree on an answer and then tell me what you think. So how many clubs have these people played for? We're going to start with Michael Smith, who's played for 15 different clubs. Now, loans count, but obviously if you get loaned to Swansea and then you play for Swansea, it's only one club. So Michael Smith's on 15. Kiefer Moore, higher or lower than 15 clubs?
Sure.
Barnsley, Wigan, Sheffield.
He spent a bit of time at clubs with Cardiff.
Oh, he went out on loan with Ipswich and that, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm going to go lower than that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd go lower.
You're correct. Kiefer Moore's on 14 clubs.
Really?
Next up.
Is that many?
Yeah, he's had a lot of loans, hasn't he? Yeah. And we're talking about clubs throughout their career. But we're starting everything included. Lewis Graben is up next. 14, higher or lower?
But it's at Chelmsford now, so do you count that?
Yeah, should you count?
I'm counting everything.
So I'll go higher.
Yeah, go on then.
It's 13. It's lower by 1. Higher or lower than 13, Cameron Jerome. He's been on the show before as well, great guy.
I would go higher.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's been about.
He's had a lot of...
11. Only 11 for Cameron Jerome, yeah. So that's lower as well. Tom Ince is next up.
Are we lower than 11? Are we on?
We're on 11. Higher or lower than 11?
But did he not just stay at 1 for a bit?
I would go lower than 11.
Yeah, I'm going with it. Yeah.
You're having a stinker. It's 12. I have made this quite difficult, by the way.
You're not miles off.
Akinfenwa, higher or lower than 12?
Again, he was at Wickham for a bit.
He was at Wickham for a bit.
But he played for a long time, didn't he?
Swansea, Wickham. Are we counting like when he was at Barry in the Welsh League and stuff like that?
It's every club.
Okay, yeah, I'll go higher then.
Higher is correct. You're back on track. 15 for Akinfenwa. David McGoldrick. How many has he played for? Higher or lower than 15?
I don't think that many. He had a few at start with Forest and Wednesday and loans, Derby, Sheffield United, Barnsley. Lower.
How old's he now, though?
38.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm on?
I'll go
lower.
Yeah, I'm going lower.
It is lower, correct. 11. Now this one, next up, Rory McIlroy. How many clubs does he carry around for a round of golf?
I'm not a golf man, I don't know.
Well,
is it higher or lower than 11?
I think it's higher than 11.
You a golf man?
No.
It is. It's 14, by the way. Just sort of try that. You didn't like that, did you? And then finally, to finish our little quiz, Lee Trundle, higher or lower than 14 clubs?
Non-league as well?
Yeah, everything. Even the club you're at.
Higher.
Do you know how many you played for?
I'm going to guess, is it around the 18 mark?
It's 19 according to your Wikipedia page.
Yeah. No, I think I would say that's right, yeah.
And who are you at right now?
So I'm at Pure Swansea.
Yes.
We're called, yeah. So we're in the 3rd tier of the Welsh League. Won again on the weekend, so we're climbing league. If we win our games in hand, I think we are around 2nd place, but we've still got to play them top teams as well, so the league's still there to be played for.
And the 50th party is going to come up next year, right?
Yeah, next year, yeah. So hopefully I'll be still playing by then. I still play my vets football as well on a Sunday, so I'll play the 40s one week and I'll play the over 45s the next week, the alternate each week. So I play 2 games a weekend, so still feeling okay.
Excellent stuff. Right, I think that wraps up the show. Lee, thank you very much for coming on. Callum,
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned, as I say, for the Sportsman Untitled Extra coming later in the week. Like and subscribe and get your comments and thoughts on Lee's appearance. It was great to have him on. We'll see you later in the week. Thanks for watching.